10 championship players I hope West Ham are keeping an eye on this season, but it comes with a twist. We'll cover that in just a minute. Also are my 2 picks. If I could select 2 players from the championship and bring them to West Ham United to play in the Claret and Blue next season, who would they be? I shall reveal in this video. I quite enjoy doing this series. I don't know why, I'm not particularly good at it, but what we'll do during the World Cup, we'll take a look back at some previous episodes. There's been some good calls, such as Ollie Watkins, but there's also been some disastrous ones as well, such as Karlan Grant. I was convinced Karlan Grant would be a solid Premier League player. Anyway, that hasn't put you off. We'll crack on with it in just a minute. But the twist is, there's only 9. There's only 9 championship players. However, there is one from League One. He played in the championship last season, in fairness, but I still think he's got the potential to go on and become a Premier League player. So there's 10 players, just 9 from the championship, and also I've done a maximum of 1 per club. Otherwise I could list 2 or 3 QPR players and 2 or 3 Watford players as well as Burnley. There's no fun in that, so I've given myself a challenge, a maximum of 1 per club. We know David Moyes doesn't mind spending money in the championship, does he? He quite enjoys signing players and playing them at West Ham that used to play in the championship, such as Jarrod Bowen, Said Benrahma, Flint, Jarrod Bowen and Said Benrahma. I'm joking. But we don't mind spending in the championship, and I'm sure we'll do it again in future, possibly even next summer. So, is that player in this video? Well, I hope so anyway, because I quite like the players I'm going to talk about. But get involved in the comments below. But without further ado, here's player number 1. I'm going to get the obvious one over and done with straight away, but I'm going to follow up with one of my top 2 picks. But the obvious player, not one of my top 2 picks. The obvious player is Brereton Diaz of Blackburn Rovers. Now, we know all about him as West Ham fans. We've been linked to him for ages. The Rovers striker started last season in unbelievable form. The second half of the season, though, a bit of a write-off for him. However, there were circumstances around that. Injuries, international duty. There was excuses to be made for Brereton Diaz, lack of goals for the second half of last season. But this season, he started in strong form. 4 goals in 10 games so far. Everton and Fulham tried to sign him on deadline day. However, the Blackburn stuck to their guns and asked for 20 million. No club stumped up the cash, so he remained at Ewood Park. However, he's now in the final year of his contract, so a big decision is needed by Blackburn. Do they cash in January and let him go for a smaller fee, or will he walk out on a free at the end of the season? Now, because of both of those reasons, I think it's fair to expect West Ham will continue scouting him. It sounds like we've been scouting him for a while. It sounds like we have been interested, but for whatever reason, we've been put off. Is it because of the 20 million price tag? Is it because we don't think he's good enough? Is it because we think we could get him a bit cheaper in January, or perhaps even free at the end of this season? We'll have to wait and see. But this is one player I expect West Ham to be keeping an eye on this season. This player is the one I'm most excited about in this video, and almost have an expectation that West Ham are scouting him because he's perfect for what we need. There's some players in this video, like Brereton Diaz, good player, we don't necessarily need him, but we need this player. He is perfect for us. He's perfect for the way we are trying to play this season, and that's Isaiah Jones at Middlesbrough, right wing back. If we're going to play wing backs, let's sign actual wing backs. Now, he didn't start off as one. He started out as a winger, came through Tooting and Mitcham, same as Antonio. Not that that's a reason to buy him, but just thought it was a nice interesting fact throughout there. Came up to Scotland on loan. He was on loan at Queen of the South, playing as a right winger and a left winger, racking up the assists as well. But it's a case of, well, can you then do it in the Championship? So off back to Borough he went, and the answer is yes. And it's not just a yes, it's an unbelievable yes, he can. Last season, Borough had the 2 best right backs in the league. Jones there, and they also had Spence on loan at Nottingham Forest, who's then gone and signed for Tottenham. But that's the level Jones is at. Jones is arguably better than Spence. There's not much between them whatsoever. Now, Spence, like I said, has earned that move to Tottenham, so that gives you an idea of what the future holds for Jones. But he has just got everything. Now, I don't watch loads of Borough games. You can probably count them on 2 hands. I think I've probably seen him about 6-7 times in last season, this season. But every single time you watch them, he stands out by a country mile. Now, when you watch a Championship game, there'll be a few players that will play well, man-of-match performances, but you don't necessarily feel like that guy can step up to a different level. When you watch Borough and you watch Jones, every time you watch, you think, too good for this league. too good for this league. And obviously, the lower down the ranks you go, the easier it is to feel like that about players. In Championship, it's probably pretty difficult. I very rarely do it. But when I watch Borough and I see Jones, I just think there's a guy that's just destined for the top flight. Now, obviously, they were expected to be in a promotion push this season. It's not going great for them so far. So could he be on his move to the Premier League? Well, I think he will. And I absolutely pray it's West Ham. He's got unbelievable pace. His energy levels are ridiculous. Come the 85th minute, he's still bombing up and down that right-hand side. Defensively, pretty solid. He's not the best defender in the league, but that's why he's a wing-back. He's not a conventional right-back. He's more of a right-winger than a right-back. But he's playing wing-back. He's played wing-back for a while. Wilder is the manager who had wing-backs at Sheffield United too. So there's one manager you want to coach somebody to become a modern-day wing-back. It's probably Chris Wilder, actually. So in terms of sort of tutoring and experience, he's getting the best he can get for becoming a modern-day wing-back for the Premier League. His composure in the final third is already done. Like I said, as a background, as a youngster, he was a more attacking player. So his crosses, his passing, he's already got that all sorted. And this is exactly what we are screaming out for at West Ham. If Moyes wishes to play wing-backs, he is your answer in the Championship. He won't come cheap, but 23 years of age, he's got a big future ahead of him. And if you haven't heard of him, you're watching thinking, who's Jones or Borough? Next time they're on the telly, put it on and keep an eye out for him, because Championship sides are now doubling up on him. He's that good going forward. You'll often see the left winger drop back and attack to defend against him, with the left back sitting in behind the left winger saying, well, if he gets past you, he's got me to contend with. In some games I've seen, he gets past both. And I would absolutely love him at West Ham United. Now forget about the 10 to watch. This part of the video is all about the 11 to perform. This video is sponsored by Spitch, and Spitch is the fantasy football app which covers a wide range of leagues and competitions, including the Nations League tonight with England taking on Italy. We've also got the Premier League back next weekend as well. You can download Spitch by using the link in the description. It's free to download, it's free to join, and there's plenty of free-to-play games, including the Nations League this evening. However, if you fancy backing yourself at fantasy football, you can play real money and increase your cash prize at the end of it. Due to the gambling nature, it's an 18 plus game, available only in some countries. However, when you download it, make sure you join the Hammers Chat League. Myself and Gonzo will be back head to head next weekend, with the Premier League returning as West Ham have that big game against Wolves. But while you're there, do take a minute, because Spitch has a few twists. Their point scoring is a little bit different to your traditional game of fantasy football. Also, budget smudge it. They don't need to worry about it. You can go over budget, you can go under budget. You just get bonus points for going under, and of course, if you go over, you get punished. Now, West Ham need to consider their budget when scouting ahead of the summer transfer window. So shall we get back to some players that should be on West Ham's wish list? Now, from the right side to the left side, and to be fair, if I had 3 picks, this would be my third one. I should probably have said I've got 3, because he's quite high up as well. And that's Ian Maatsen. Now, I'm cheating with this one. He's on loan at Burnley from Chelsea. However, bearing in mind Chelsea's 2 current left backs, or left wing backs if you like, are Mark Cucurella and Ben Chilwell. Is he going to be playing for them anytime soon? I'm not too sure. I think we're seeing a bit of a situation like we saw with Mark Gay when he was on loan at Swansea, which is a player exceeding in the Championship, but not quite good enough for Chelsea's first team yet. So you only get 1 or 2 opportunities to go sign that player. Otherwise, it'll be a bit Conor Gallagher-esque, which actually is almost too good to sell now, and Chelsea now want him back. So this is someone I think if West Ham are keeping an eye on him and Burnley fail to get promoted, he might be available next summer. Now, he's got loads of experience for a 20-year-old. He went to Chelsea from PSV's youth academy. He went out on loan to Charlton, won their hearts over, played left back, left wing back, left wing at some times as well. Went to Coventry last season, was fantastic at Coventry, won their fans over. And now he's gone to Burnley, and he's already winning their fans over as well. So he's a fan favourite at 3 different clubs already. Now, I didn't really see him for Charlton at all. I've seen him a bit for Coventry now and again, but I've seen him a lot more for Burnley this season. And a bit like Jones, he just stands out. A very, very attacking left back. Now, he's more of a left wing back than a left back, but because of the formation that Burnley are playing, and given that they have the lion's share of possession, how Vincent Kompany likes to play football, they get away with having a very attacking left back in that team. Should they get promoted and they have Maatsen on loan for another season, it's one of those players and positions that might get exposed initially until he learns the Premier League. But we won't have that West Ham. Again, we're going to play wing backs. Let's sign a wing back. Maatsen is that wing back. Very, very fast. Very, very attacking. He's got a little bit of a temper. We've seen that against Huddersfield a couple of weeks ago, where he got sent off for, I mean, to be fair, I understand his reaction. It was just a little bit naive and inexperienced from him, that's all. But he is a fantastic talent. Again, a bit like Brereton. If you watch Burnley, Maatsen will stand out for you. Will get you goals. Will get you assists. Maybe 1 or 2 red cards along the way as well. But we possibly need a left back next summer. Creswell is currently out of contract next summer. So what better than to sign a 20-year-old with fantastic experience at this level in the Championship that you know can step up to the Premier League? Because Chelsea signed him for a reason, and Chelsea get a lot wrong when selling youngsters. But one thing they tend to not get wrong too often is spotting a youngster. Ian Maatsen, he's one of them. Let's stick with the PSV Academy theme. This is somebody I cannot believe is in the Championship. I just fully expected he was going to go to a Premier League club this summer. I mean, who? I don't know, maybe Southampton or something. But he's still in the Championship, and that's Joao Pedro of Swansea City. 22 goals in 45 games last season is just ridiculous. Now, sometimes strikers have purple patches and it's quite difficult to work out. Are they talented or are they just having a bit of a hot streak? Like Brereton Diaz to some extent. He's going to have to do it this season to convince Premier League clubs to take the punt on him. But Joao Pedro did it for the whole of last season. You look at his background in football, coming from PSV's academy. When he was at PSV in the academy for the under-19s, their front three was Piroe was on the left of a front three. On the right was Gakpo, who's still at PSV and one of Europe's leading youngsters. Scored for the Netherlands last night in the Nations League as well. And the striker, the number 9, was Gianluca Scamacca. So they know each other anyway. We know they can play with each other. What a front three that is for your academy, by the way. Maatsen as well, coming through the PSV academy. They've not done bad, PSV, are they? That school of football. Anyway, Piroe this season, 4 goals in 10. This is not purple patch. This is a talented player. If you watch his finishing, his level of finishing is incredible. Right foot, left foot, head, it doesn't matter. You get him the ball inside the box, and to be fair, outside the box as well. He's not one of these 6-yard poachers or anything. Not that there's anything wrong with that, by the way, but this is a guy that's capable of linking up play outside the 18-yarder, getting the ball 20 yards out, shooting, scoring goals. Linked up well with Obafemi last season too at Swansea City. So here's somebody that I wouldn't be surprised if he's already caught our eye. Bear in mind, we would have scouted Flynn Downs, or you'd like to think so. It would almost be impossible to go watch Flynn Downs and not notice a guy that's scoring every other week. But I still can't believe he's in the Championship, actually. Do West Ham need a striker? Well, do you know something? Next summer, Michail Antonio, this time next year, Antonio will be 33 years old. I think we do. Piroe, just 23 years of age, and banging in goals for fun in the Championship. Makes sense to me. But I'm going to try and speed up, fly through the next couple, otherwise I'll be here all afternoon. I just like talking about football. Next up, we've got Jordan James, the 18-year-old attacking centre midfielder from Birmingham. Is that a thing? Guess it is. Plays centre midfield, likes to get the ball, likes to move it forward. Now that could either be through passing or through dribbling. Either or doesn't faze him. A very attacking centre midfielder. Won the Young Player of the Year last year. And last year was a huge season for him. Started off in the under-18s, got promoted to under-23s. Then Lee Bowyer took him into the first team and he was rewarded with big performances from the youngster. At the end of last season, he got called up to England under-20s. Fantastic achievement. But just now, he's in the Wales setup. He was in the Welsh youth levels, went to the England youth levels, and now he's back in the Welsh senior squad. Makes sense from Wales. Get him tied in while they can, because he's got a big future in the game. At the minute, Birmingham obviously could do with a few bob, so there's a potential there for a Premier League club, and there's been a few looking at him already to pick him up on the relative cheap, 3, 4, 5 million maybe. I think you'd pick him up for. And then, obviously, if he makes it, happy days, you've got a bargain on your hands. Not ready for the Premier League yet, but this video isn't about players that are ready for the Premier League. This video is about players for West Ham to keep an eye on in the Championship that could make it in the Premier League. Jordan James, he's a name to look out for, and somebody that's expected to make it in the Premier League one day. Now next up is one of the players I'm least confident about in this video, and sticking with the Welsh team is Sorba Thomas, the 23-year-old Huddersfield winger, the set piece taker, playmaker and assist king. 12 assists last season in Championship. Only John Swift and Harry Wilson managed more. When he's out, Huddersfield don't play. This season, 3 assists in 10 games so far, so he's had a promising start, but for me, there's just not enough goals for a winger. Somebody that might suit some Premier League clubs, probably not West Ham. Will he step up to that level? I'm not 100% sure either. However, if he has another season like he did last season, a Premier League move next summer might be on the cards. Probably the safest bet in the video, not just the video, in the Championship. If you had to pick a player that you know would step up to the Premier League, it's probably this one. Now, a lot of people will probably be thinking, here's Sarr at Watford. When they saw this video, they thought, he'll pick Sarr at Watford. But because I'm restricting myself to 1 per club maximum, I don't know why, I just decided to do that. I prefer Joao Pedro. I think Pedro is a better player than Sarr, and I think he's a better player than Emmanuel Dennis, who did get moved to Nottingham Forest. Now, this isn't me dissing Sarr, Dennis. I think they're both great players. I wouldn't have minded either of them at West Ham this summer either. But I just think Pedro is a better player, more technical, more composed, more finessed. Also, just 20 years of age. His ceiling in football is huge. He could go on and become a top player. Will he? I don't know. I certainly think the potential's there. I enjoy watching him play. A few games I've seen Watford play this season, and he's had a slow burner to the season, just 2 goals and 2 assists in 9 games. It's hardly screaming, I am ready for the Premier League. We've just discussed other strikers with greater goal-scoring returns so far and last season as well. But I wouldn't say he's a striker. He can play striker, he can play on the sides of a front 3. I think he's better out wide, either on the right or on the left. But when I have watched Watford this season, I enjoy watching him. He's got that entertaining side to him as well. He doesn't mind taking players on. He's got that skills. I think he's a fantastic player. And like I said, out the Championship, you said to me, pick one player that you know would cut it in the Premier League. And he's, I would say, done it in the Premier League, but he's certainly not embarrassed himself so far in the Premier League in Watford colours. He would be my pick, Joao Pedro. So while I say I hope West Ham are watching him, it's a bit of a no-brainer really. If you need an attacking player, if you need a forward and you're wanting to shop in the Championship, I think Joao Pedro should be right at the top of your list. Given the uncertainty over the futures of Craig Dawson and Ogbonna, West Ham may need a centre-back next summer. So let's stick one into this video, and this is where we're going into League 1. Ronnie Edwards of Piroe smashed it in the Championship last season. Obviously they got relegated, but there's been big Premier League interest already, so West Ham did want him. They're going to have to move quick. The likes of Southampton and Aston Villa were linked to him. There were rumours that Crystal Palace had a £7.5 million bid rejected for him. Peterborough confirmed there was a Premier League club that made a bid which got turned down. He's still there. He has ambitions to go on and play in the Premier League, and just recently has been called up to the England under-20 squad as well. So there's a big future in the game for Ronnie Edwards. Sir Alex Ferguson has recommended him to Manchester United because of his son Darren, who's basically told his dad that this is the best youngster I've ever managed. So Man United, Chelsea, Tottenham, they're all sniffing around him as well. Huge ball playing centre back, does not mind playing football, likes to step out the back with it at his feet, really likes springing counter attacks, whether it's with a quick ball out the back on the deck or a long 40-yard pass over the top of the defence. He caught the eye last season. While it was a poor season for Peterborough, it was a big and impressive season for Ronnie Edwards. He's somebody that will be at a Premier League club in the not so distant future, and it's someone that I hope West Ham have got their eye on, because youngsters from the Championship, it's not really something we've done in regards to our centre back area in the future. As we mentioned earlier, Flynn Downs, Saeed Benrahma, Jared Bowen, pretty established Championship players as well, but from centre midfield, wingers as well. I'd like to see us go out there and try and get the next big thing for the centre back area of English football, and that could be Ronnie Edwards. Won't come cheap. Peterborough looking to break their transfer record, which is currently 10 million for Ivan Toney when he joined Brentford. So you're looking at around about 12 to 15 million for a League One player. But it's expensive for a League One player, but it's quite cheap for a Premier League centre back. Next up is somebody that can play left wing, right wing, attacking midfield, in the number 8 role in deeper centre midfield, and that's Chris Willock. 5 goals in 7 games in Championship already this season. Last season he managed just 7. I say just 7 is still an acceptable return for an attacking midfielder, but also 11 assists at Loftus Road as well, and somebody that Mark Warburton will be well aware of. So in terms of scouting West Ham, there's not much to be done here. Just ask Mark Warburton about Chris Willock. Somebody that suffered a couple of knocks along the way in their career. He came through the Arsenal Academy, played in teams such as alongside the likes of Smith Rowe. He went on loan to Huddersfield with Smith Rowe. Saka, Eddie Nketiah, they are all now carving out Premier League careers for themselves at Arsenal. He went off to Benfica. His brother Joe's obviously performing at Newcastle United as well. So it's a slightly longer route for Chris Willock into the Premier League, but it's on the horizon. A move away from Loftus Road is definitely there. If he continues the form he started this season, it could be on course for a January transfer. So if West Ham needs somebody that can play left wing, right wing, attacking midfield, or a little bit deeper midfield, add that creativity, add a goal scoring threat from midfield as well, Chris Willock is potentially the answer. And finally, we're on to player number 10. Well done on making it this far. And it's my second pick to go alongside Jones of Borough. And that is the Guernsey Grealish. I promise you, that's what they call him. I've not made that nickname up. But while you're here, make sure you subscribe to the channel and drop a like on it. But it's Alex Scott of Bristol City, the 19-year-old who can play in a ridiculous amount of positions. Now, his best position will be that number 10 role going forward. He is destined to play in there. And when I speak about the Guernsey Grealish, like I said, that's what they call him, given he's from Guernsey and he plays like Grealish. So much so, he even rolls his socks down like Grealish does. His calves aren't quite as impressive as Jack Grealish. Yeah, he might do that in future. I don't know. But he plays like Grealish. He models himself on Jack Grealish, and he's very open about it, that that's his idol. That's how he wants to play football, and that's how he is playing football at Bristol City as well. What a talent he is. I've only seen him a few times, but a bit like Jones, you can just tell when someone's got that little bit of, that little sprinkle of stardust, destined for big things. However, they're managing him really well at Bristol City. He barely plays in the number 10. I say barely. He's playing in it more and more, but certainly last season, very often you'd find him in right wing back. Shoehorned at right wing back is not his best position, but it's quite a clever way. Bear in mind he was only 18 when he broke into the first team. It's a case of, well, let's put him out on the wing, let him learn the trade out there a little bit, let's ease him into the team, rather than throwing him in the deep end, letting him get kicked to ribbons in the middle of the pitch in the Championship. They have really sort of managed his progress carefully, and he's benefiting from that, as well as Bristol City, obviously. Big fan favourite already, but he's somebody that likes to get on the ball, and he likes to dribble, draws defenders in, always looking to move the ball forward as well, whether it is from the right wing back in the number 10 role, often plays in the pivot in midfield as well. They've played with like a 3-4-1-2 formation. I mean, all these players are just perfect for David Moyes' new formations, aren't they? But Alex Scott has often played well in number 10, in that sort of number 8 position, the Thomas Souček role, if you like, getting forward, joining up with the attack, getting on the ball, moving it really well, and he is bloody good at it as well. His dribble completion rate, his success rate at dribbling is through the roof, and I mean over last season, the whole season, not just a small pool of games. No, he's consistently good at dribbling, and this is a guy that looks good on the ball, not just because his socks are down, the way he moves with it, but will be in the Premier League in the not so distant future. Possibly somebody, dare I say, and I hate saying this, I know I'll get criticism for it, but I'm going to say it, somebody that may be too good for West Ham. But this is why you've got to move now, because you wait a couple of years when it's obvious he's good enough for a top club in the Premier League. It's too late. The big boys have already sussed him out. The big boys have done their scouting. They're going to throw cash at him. So West Ham want players like Alex Scott. They've got to move quick, and they're going to have to pay the money. He won't be cheap, but what a talent this boy is, and what a talent this player will be. Hopefully, I say hopefully, I don't really mind, potentially with bigger calves. So there you have it, the 9 Championship players and 1 League One player that I hope West Ham United are keeping an eye on this season. I want you guys to get involved in the comments below with the players that you hope the Hammers are scouting in the English Football League this season. If you've enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it and subscribe if you're new to Hammers Chat. And what we'll be doing during the World Cup, we'll be taking a look back at the old episodes that I've done featuring all the players, the big calls, the good calls, but also the ones I've got badly wrong. That's going to be a long video. Anyway, I'll catch you in a bit.